Hey there, everybody. Welcome to the first episode of Flick Off, where we talk about movies and stuff related to movies. I'm Steve, he's Stoney, and playing with Viewmaster.
It's broken, man.
There's not a card in there.
Card?
The little circle thing that goes in the top.
Oh, man. See, I haven't seen one of these in like 30 years.
Yeah, that's why there's nothing in there.
It's kind of like I'm sitting there thinking, am I having a bad acid trip or something?
I mean, there's no colors in there, so I don't know, the opposite of acid. But anyway.
3D. You think we could watch movies with this? Just kind of...
Maybe.
Ooh, that'd be kind of cool.
That would be kind of
Yeah,
cool.
whatever.
Well, today we're going to be talking to you guys about a good old film called The Warriors.
What? Really? Really? Warriors.
The Warriors.
Warriors. You
Yeah,
gotta say it right.
Because it's from New York.
From New York in like the 70s.
Yeah, Coney Island.
Coney Island.
Yeah, so...
I could go for a hot dog.
Well, this guy right here, he's like the master of the Warriors. He is about as knowledgeable about it as anyone I've ever met.
You know what the beauty part of the Warriors is?
What's that?
Well, first of all, it is like... It's an Academy Award-worthy movie. It's a shame that so many people have never heard of this movie. And just, as you can tell, just thinking about the movie makes me talk like I'm from up north. Really bad.
See, I don't think I had heard of it until one day I was telling you about my senior thesis, which somehow had similarities to the story of the Warriors, and I had never heard of the Warriors, so that was pretty rad. And then you had the PlayStation 2 video game made by Rockstar, the guys that make Grand Theft Auto, and you can definitely tell it's a similar kind of game. And it kind of goes over the events leading up to the movie, and then it goes through the movie, and it ends where the movie ends.
That's right. And, I got that video game the same year that I actually got the reissue DVD of the movie, where they actually put in, like, the comic book switch changeovers, which kind of reminds you of like the old Creepshow. Was it Creepshow movie? The old Creepshow movie that had like the interludes between the different stories turned into the Creepshow comic book.
Little scene transitions. And stuff. Yeah, and it looked cool because that's the one that we watched and that was the first time I'd seen the movie. I thought it was pretty cool.
Cool movie. So for those of you who have never seen The Warriors, okay, and I'm going to mainly lean this to those of you from the 70s and the 80s, because actually you should know the movie. But in The Warriors, right, they kind of... It's kind of funny because, when I was a kid, I thought these were the coolest gangs of all time. Looking back there...
The baseball guys? Yeah, sure.
Kind of cheesy. It's kind of like if Kiss put on, like, baseball outfits and went running through the park. You know what I mean? Just kind of really interesting. But anyway, is it synopsis?
Yeah.
The synopsis, the plot, whatever, is all the bands in the New York area are invited to this big meeting in this park with the idea that all the gangs are going to put aside their differences, they're going to come together, and they're going to take on the police. But the problem is this guy... We'll call him Leif Garrett, decides to kill Cyrus, who is the leader of the big gang that's bringing everybody together. And this creates chaos. Well, the problem is I guess the Warriors live further than anybody else, and Leif Garrett blames the Warriors. So all these gangs who just like 5 minutes ago hated each other, all of a sudden they just want to kill the Warriors. And I don't mean just the guys from Cyrus's gang. I mean, everybody wants to kill the Warriors. So, they are running. They're separating. They're going through the subway. They're going through cemeteries. They're going through parks. In the video game, they're in the dark 90% of the time.
Like one of them gets handcuffed to a bench. Yeah.
Yeah, because of his libido and stuff.
Yeah.
He's a horny guy. So,
figures.
So, by the time it's all over, they pick up this really dirty girl from, that's hanging out with this gang called the Orphans. They finally make it home to Coney Island, which apparently is a big beach resort. Who knew any place in New York was a beach resort?
And now it's daytime again, finally, after... Oh, man, I feel it's like the longest night ever.
Yeah. So it's daytime, and all of a sudden there's Leif Garrett in this old kid car with these 3 bottles, and he's aping Twisted Sister or something. Warriors!
Come out and play! Yay!
Exactly!
Like clinking them together, and yeah.
So somehow he ends up like on the beach with a gun, right? And there's a knife involved. It goes through his hand. Yada yada yada. All of a sudden, the Riffs show up and surround everybody. So of course, it's like all of a sudden there's 1,000 like gang members on the beach. But by now they have found out who has really killed Cyrus. They take matters in their own hands, and the movie kind of ends. Imagine this, you're in New York City, right? So you're thinking the movie's going to end with like the Ramones, New York Dolls, Kiss, Frank Sinatra. What happens? The Warriors, they walk down the sand into the sunset to the sound of the Eagles.
See, I'd be okay with that.
I mean, it's a beautiful moment.
Yeah.
And a lot of Italian men in New York cried. That's a little confusing for those of us at the time who had never been to New York. We were wondering, when did beaches come up in New York, and how was there sand? Because back then all we knew about were concrete and tall buildings and people walking and subways.
Beaches, what are those?
Beaches. So
that'd have been funny to have them walk down the beach at the end to like some, God, what Dean Martin or something.
Yep.
Yep. So.
Like I did it my way. But like Steve said, in the video game kind of leads up to the point where they're talking about going to the meeting.
Yeah, well, it goes up to the meeting, and then it goes through the events of the movie, and then the final boss of the game is, what's-his-face, Leif Garrett. And I remember, this is a few years ago, but I remember having a lot of trouble with that boss. I had to actually look up how to beat him, and I don't remember, but I think you had to throw the knife at him, was what you had to, you were kind of behind some little barricades from what I was, kind of foggy, and he's shooting at you, and you got a knife, and you're just like, I'm going to tear this guy up.
No.
So, and I mean, it ends like the movie ends. So, but it's a very faithful game to the source material. Like the opening to the game where they're on their way to the meeting. I mean, it's the same opening to the movie, but with the the little polygon 3D characters running around. Yeah. So it's pretty cool. Watching some, they're on the subway, running down the streets, gathering in the park. They can dig it, and then the dude gets shot. So
that's right. So, probably I would say my only negative for the video game is there's a lot of points where you're trying to figure out, you can hear yourself running into stuff, but you can't see yourself running into stuff.
It's very dark as hell. I mean, that's one of those, there's probably a brightness setting. I don't know, we might not have messed with the options well enough.
No, I don't know.
So, it's, if you're more on the gamey side of things like me, you can actually download it on the PlayStation 4. Right now, it's on the PlayStation Network shop. I'm sure you can get it on the PS3 as well if you haven't yet upgraded. So
that's right. You can go there and you can go, Warriors, come out and play.
Oh yeah.
And so, in a little side note, before we go off to maybe watch it again ourselves, is probably about 10, 15 years ago, MTV had contemplated making a remake.
Oh,
and the idea was supposed to be very Matrix style with no weapons. How do you kill Cyrus to begin with without a weapon? So
it's like the 5 points of death or whatever.
Yeah.
Kill Bill shit.
Yeah. So I mean, you got to figure out how to kill somebody from a distance so you can blame it on somebody else.
Yeah.
I don't know. So another side point is this, for those of you who are familiar with the movie and might not know this is originally, the Warriors originally came out as a book. that was made into a movie. And it has been reported that the original story, The Warriors, was actually based on Homer's The Odyssey.
Okay. Yeah, I can kind of see that. Yeah.
So
some similarities there.
there you go. So, our recommendation for you Leif Garrett fans, I would pick up the movie. You could probably find it on Netflix or one of those free services online on Roku or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
You can probably download it. You might even be able to watch it on YouTube, whatever. But my recommendation is order the best pizza you can. And by order, I mean pick it up. Don't order chain. Pick up something from a good pizzeria. Invite some friends over. Put on some jeans, maybe some Converse, and turn on the movie and watch The Warriors. I think
grab your knives just in case your home gets broken into during the movie.
And there you go. So just get yourself a copy and come out and play.
Yeah.
All right.
Sweet.
We'll see you
Cool.
next time.
Take it easy.
These are the armies of the night.
Can you dig it? Can you dig it?
The Furies. The Boppers. The Hi-Hats. The Lizzies. The Turnbull ACs. The Gramercy Riffs.
Riffs!
And these are the Warriors.
We know about the Warriors. They're a heavy outfit.
They're from Coney Island.
Warriors. You guys are the big dudes, huh?
Now they're in the Bronx,
We're going back.
27 miles behind enemy lines.
It's the only choice we got.
Between them and safety stand 20,000 cops and 100,000 sworn enemies.
I want them all. I want all the warriors.
They've got one way out. They've got one chance. They've got one night. The Warriors.